Girlfriend.
Thanks.
But I can't say kakra. Yɛbɛkɔ so na yɛayɛ adwuma a ɛwɔ sɛ yɛyɛ na yɛmake sure sɛ mpo deɛ ɛmmoa no adi kɔ no yɛbɛtumi apɛ kakra kora mpo aba fie a na nka yɛtumi ama sidi no aba no akyi kakra no ne adwuma mpanimfoɔ ɛyɛ. Yɛtɔ so mmiɛnsa ɔmampanin abɛdi akyire Dr. Baomia kɔyɛ adwuma kakra ɛwɔ India. Wɔwie n'adwuma yɛ wɔ India. Saa bere a mene woka sɛ ɔnam kwan so ɛrekɔ English aburukyiman mu. Ɛhɔ no so ɔkɔ a yɛato nsa afrɛ no sɛ ɔmbɛdi humanities and law sukuu a ɛwɔ Buckingham University baabi ɔno ara kɔɔ sukuu no ɔmbɛdi ɔmo anim abra nkwadaa no bi ɛwie sukuu na nhyehyɛeɛ a yɛyɛ de apagya sikasɛm mu ha no ɔmfa ebi so ntu dwa wɔ hɔ na sɛ obi wɔ hɔ na sɛ ɔpɛ sɛ ɔde ne ntoma bɛbɔ yɛ deɛ ano ɔno so de ne ntoma bɛbɔ yɛ deɛ ano ɔkɔɔ India no so no ɔbɔ ne ho mmɔden yɛfrɛ no sɛ guest of honor no ɛkɔ sɛ India for business for ne adeɛ dodoɔ no so mbɔ mmɔden fam sika so mbɛhyɛ Ghana adwumakuo no a yɛtrae anaa yɛbɔ yɛ ho mmɔden sɛ mfididwuma ne kuayɔ ne adeɛ mu bɛpagya no ɔmo so mfa ɔmo ntoma mmɛbɔ yɛ deɛ ano ne yere ɔbaa pani Samira Baomia so anya scholarships ɛde boa anaasɛ ɔde bɛboa Ghanafoɔ nkwalaa ɛpɛ kwan akɔ sukuu ɛwɔ hɔ so akɔsua adeɛ ansa na mmoa kakra so ɛbɛnya de aboa nkwalaa a sɛbe ɔmo ho atɔkyema kakra ɔmo yare kakra ɔmo hia ayaresa a bi wɔ hɔ ɛwɔ sɛ yɛde ɔmo kɔ amanane no yɛtumi aboa wɔn ɛwɔ India hɔ kakra yɛasɛm etwa toɔ awie yi ɛne sɛ Ministry of Information 2019 yɛfi yɛ town hall meetings ase town hall meetings ne yɛ adeɛ bi a yɛyɛ ɛma aban mpanimfoɔ ne ɔmanfoɔ esi nkonnwa na aban mpanimfoɔ tumi akyerɛkyerɛ adwuma a yɛyɛ mu ɔmanfoɔ so akyerɛ ɔmo adwene ama wɔn mmuaeɛ sɛ ɛkɔ yie anaasɛ ɛnkɔ yie deɛ di kan no 26th of March ɛwɔ Kasoa Datus school park ɛna yɛbɛyɛ deɛ ɛdi kan ɛwɔ 26th of March senior minister Owura yɛ Osafo Mafo ɛna ɛbɛdi anim ɛwɔ saa first town hall meeting no deɛ ɛtɔ so mmienu yɛbɛyɛ no 3rd of April ɛwɔ College of Physicians and Surgeons na ɛno no deɛ Ghana Economic Management Team ne nyinara ɛna ɛba abɔnten aba abɛhyia industry players ne nipa ahodoɔ a ɔmo di dwa ɔmo nim Ghana sikasɛm ntotoyɛ ɛho Vice President nankasa ne bɛdi anim ɔno chairman of Economic Management Affairs ɔno so no bɛdi anim ɛwɔ English aburukyiman mu na nnuanom so ɛwɔ Europe ne give us
Ms. Melvin from Deligan. We know that the CD is gradually appreciating, but can we know the specific steps that government is taking to ensure that a rate gains value? And then two, still on the economy, we've been hearing a member of the NDC, as the Kadongo, calling on the Vice President to debate him on the economy. Is this something that government will consider? Debate? Thank you.
Let me take another one.
My name is Alfredo Conce. I work with Media General, specifically 3FM, Onia FM, Connect FM, 3news.com. Yesterday, the president admitted that there's a growing taste for foreign or imported goods, whereas we can actually produce some of these things that we import in the country. I heard you mention the number of measures being put in place to ensure that we address this fall of the city permanently. But I didn't hear anything about, for example, a banning of some imported goods that we have competitive and comparative advantage over in this country in terms of production. So are you going to consider the ban of some imported commodities that we can produce in this country. And also, I want to find out what the current debt portfolio is as we speak.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So there are two more here. Okay, so let me take the lady, and then I'll respond, and then I'll come to Adam FM. Adam FM, right? I'll come to you later. Yes, sir.
For Ghanaian Times, dealing with the recurring depreciation of the cedi, I want to find out what government is doing to check the trading of dollar, like Kelewele on the street. I'm talking of the black market, because it is becoming very conspicuous across the country in terms of people trading foreign currency on the streets of Ghana.
Yes, madam.
My name is Jessica Melody from GH1 TV. I'd like to know
of the currency as we're beginning to observe. First, we noticed that the activities of currency speculators took a decline the moment we got parliamentary approval to commence the bridge financing facility. Remember, we said we're going to do a bridge financing facility even ahead of the Eurobond. And one of the things we noticed was that the activity of speculators took a decline. You also recall that prior to that, the Bank of Ghana had worked on market conduct rules with those on the Treasury inject some more hard currency to make point in time. Take the rice import bill, over $1 billion or so. Everybody to do local rice. I think our answer is that that may be a bit too, I say, severe or sharp. Output is one of the ways by which was what was happening previously, particularly because of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. So as we do a lot more of this, pump more money the situation. gradually tone down demand for imported commodities. But it is a conversation that I want to encourage all of you, particularly on your media platforms, to engage the Ghanaian in. He will focus on delivering, and then when it's time to engage, he will engage the people of Ghana with an update on what is going on and take their queries and their feedback. There was another question. Yes, I think that's one I responded to about the import substitution. In terms of the debt portfolio, the debt portfolio literally changes on a day-to-day basis, even depending on the exchange rate, because they are part of our debt portfolio that are benchmarked in hard currency, etc. But that's why the Bank of Ghana, I think, on a regular basis, publishes the summary of economic and financial data, which benchmarks it at a point in time. So we'll wait for the next one to have clarity of that particular one. What will government do about free currency trading? We have to work a fine balance between allowing regulators, etc., have an opportunity to hike up the currency. Okay. And then there's Adam. So let's start from
by the end of 2019, we should expect cedi to the dollar to 86.3. And also, Ghana's debt is now 201.8 billion. Now, we need MPP 2 years in office with the 80 billion account. Can you confirm these figures, or what's the issue, and what is the government doing about this issue? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Abu. Talking about import substitution, I think it's a long-term measure, and we have heard these over from various governments, and we don't see it being implemented. So, can't we do some kind of maybe restriction? Because Almighty America has.
Can't we do some kind of what?
Some kind of maybe restricting some imports, because Almighty America has restricted China from bringing all kinds of goods for the strength of their currency, by way of other tariffs or quota or whatever, because you cannot allow people to bring in anything, because we are having a free trade system in this country. So that the city may have some kind of breather. And I also go back to the black market, because if you remember in 1980s, this whole thing, rare is ugly head in Ghana, and therefore then the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kasibotri, had to bring in the Forest Bureau system to, as it were, address the situation. But now it's out of hand, because almost every corner in this country who has any currency, I don't know whether it's done in West Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa. It's only here in Ghana that people can just sit at any corner and exchange currency. We are not saying that we should completely ban it, but at least certain checks must be put in place so that we can maybe limit it and keep the around Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Encouraging the patronize of made in Ghana goods. I want to know if government is considering a complete ban on second-hand goods. I know there's been a ban on the use of second-hand underwear, but go to the market, you still see that they are still on the market. So I want to know if government is considering a complete ban on second-hand goods. And then I want to know if there's been any update on the The last time we came for the presser, you mentioned that governments would want to get the raw footages on the Manasseh documentary. I want to know if you've been able to get the videos and if the investigations have started. Thank you.
Okay. So let me respond to these, and then we'll go for the next round. You mentioned that there's speculation by the minority and that the currency will hit 6 before the end of the year. I would say that that is a deliberate attempt by the minority to heighten speculation. And that if that speculation becomes successful, then they turn around and say that it was something that they predicted. The mere fact that you speculate these things is designed to cause a bit of panic and get people to demand more now and bring into effect that thing that you are, so to speak. As a matter of fact, the fact on the ground right now is that the currency is seeing some appreciation gradually. In the last 2-3 days, you've seen some appreciation. And we are clear that it's because of the interventions that government, through the Bank of Ghana, has initially put in, and through central government as well has been working on, and therefore we are seeing the effect on speculators, etc. And I've also been explaining to you the medium and long-term solutions, which for us give us the conviction that we will be able to hold our own when it comes to the Ghanaian currency. So I would like to encourage the Ghanaian populace and people who trade in our currency and other things the world over that don't pay attention to these speculations. Look at the hard numbers on the ground and work in accordance with those hard numbers. Indeed, last year they made similar speculations that would go beyond 5 before the year was over. That wasn't occasioned. We were able to contain it. In the first quarter of this year, as a result of about 3 major things, we believe that some activities in the West African sub-region caused a lot of some of our West African brothers to literally drop their monies in banks that are affiliated to their countries and to withdraw them in hard currency here, adding to the increased demand here. We are clear that in Q1 of every year, when the multinational companies are taking their profits out after they have completed their books, you see some pressure on the currency. And then also, as a matter of fact, there was an exercise to build up our foreign reserves to a particular, may I say, quantum, which initially made it difficult for any sort of support or intervention to the currency. Many of these things have been dealt with. So we don't share that, that speculation. We think it's unhealthy, and we ask the minority to stop that in the name of Ghana, stop that in the interest of Ghana. The debt in terms of nominal figures, as our colleagues on the minority put out, and I keep making the point that anytime somebody mentions the debt to you in nominal figures, ask him to quote to you the debt to GDP ratio. You cannot just have an analysis of debt in nominal terms. You have to look at it from the point of view of debt to GDP ratio as well, because that is one of, or the key benchmark for debt sustainability. When you do the debt sustainability analysis, one of the things that is benchmarked is what is your total productivity base for the particular fiscal year, and how does it compare to your debt? That is the real determinant. At the time when our colleagues were leaving power, even if you work with the rebase figures, I think it was about 54% thereabout. And so far we have worked, in spite of an increase in the nominal numbers, we've worked to bring down the debt to GDP ratio. I think the last time I checked it was about 53% thereabout, coming down from what they left for us. What it means for us is that every single CD that we borrow, or every single increase in our debt portfolio, goes to productive purposes and goes to increase the GDP. That is why you notice that the debt to GDP ratio will keep coming down. And so if they seek to make any such analysis, apart from all the ones they did in times past, which I quoted to you, if they want to do any such analysis, please ask them to do it with the debt to GDP ratio as well, not just the nominal figures. There's a suggestion that government should consider restricting imports. We hear you, it's a suggestion. We'll take it under advisement. Then there's a question about, again, free trade of currency on the open market. Our view is that government will encourage currency transactions to take place through the forex bureaus and the banking systems, and discourage as much as possible open speculation by unauthorized dealers. If it becomes necessary to clamp down on those activities, as I've mentioned, it's on the radar of the Bank of Ghana. They will take the appropriate steps if it becomes necessary so to do. Is government considering a complete ban on second-hand goods? No. The second-hand goods which were of the view pose a health or other hazard to the country, we have as a government, imposed a ban on them. But we must also, as a country, acknowledge that not everybody is well endowed to necessarily buy a new version of everything. There are many of us who, because of resource constraints, may have to resort to the second-hand version. And the marketplace has its space for us as well. So our point is that if it poses a health or other hazard to the people, then yes, government, as has been done, will impose a ban. But if not, no. Now, this thing about the raw footage, let me repeat what we mentioned on that day. We said two things. One, that the fact that the government welcomes any effort aimed at assisting us to win the fight against illegal and irresponsible small-scale mining. And two, that the government will have the matter investigated by the appropriate security agencies using the raw and edited footage for that purpose. I noticed that many of you reported that government says it will investigate itself. No, we didn't say that. We said we will have it investigated. It is my understanding that the police CID is conducting an investigation. It's my understanding that the Office of the Special Prosecutor is also conducting an investigation. I'm not in a position to tell whether they have, as investigative officers, received these raw and edited footages. But the point that we have made is that government will have it investigated. The CID, as I mentioned, is my understanding they are conducting an investigation. The Office of the Special Prosecutor, is my understanding, is also conducting an investigation. They will be the best persons to answer whether or not they have received these bits of footage. You have a follow-up or something? You look like you have a follow-up. On that same matter? Okay, then let me take some general questions. There was a hand up here? Yes, his hand was up, so let me take him as well.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Arthur Mensah from Ghana News Agency. I think government's plan to organize town hall meeting is a good idea, but I want to find out the number of hours that will be allocated to each program, the type of questions that is expected, because sometimes people ask certain questions that they create a whole lot of problem. So whether there will be a restriction to the type of question that will be asked. Then the places that we organize, sometimes you go to a village and then you will go and organize the program in a hotel. Well, the people wanted to be in the market. So if that you will take into consideration about the places that the meetings will be organized. Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, we can't dictate to people which questions to ask. It's a town hall meeting for people to come and engage with the leadership. The first one is taking place at Kaswa, at the school park. So there are different venues. So Kaswa at the school park, another one will take place at the College of Physicians and Surgeons as well. So we will vary the venues as we deem appropriate. So let me take the next 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll come back to City 4, and then we'll try and wrap up. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Blessed Suga from Class 91.3 FM. First of all, this is a follow-up on the issue about speculation from minority. In fact, they refer to multinationals such as the HSBC, which is predicting that the Ghana cedi may depreciate to somewhere around 5.9 to the dollar by the end of the year. Do you have any contrary figure, from either the World Bank or other projections that is giving hope to government that this may not be the trend at the end of the year? Now my question is about would government consider a stakeholders engagement? For instance, what we've seen in the previous administration was essentially like forum where key policy shapers were brought under one, into one room where there were a lot of discussions about how to move Ghana's economy forward. Now that we are moving out of the IMF program, and now that we are equally having issues with the cedi, would you consider bringing all these stakeholders together so that we dialogue about the way forward? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Ernest Mino with Joy News. So the president talked about our taste for foreign goods or imports, and the example about rice, for instance, has been given a number of times. Would government want to review a program like the Planting for Food and Jobs to focus on some of these foodstuffs that are imported? Or would you tell us if there's been a deliberate attempt to address that through the Planting for Food and Jobs, and what a program like the One District, One Factory has done deliberately to address this situation. Then, just an update on, for want of a better expression, your intervention on the assault of our colleagues at Ghanaian Times. You told us the last time that you asked them to write to you officially, and that you'd proceed, to the Interior Ministry to help address the issue.
My name is Lantam Papanko with GH1 TV. Today, the Ministry of Finance released a press statement talking about a mistake that Google made with regard to their currency converter, which puts the Ghana cedi to the dollar about 4 times. In their response, they indicate that, or in the press release, they indicate that Google has written to them and has apologized for all of that. But are you satisfied with that, or would you take it a step further and perhaps ask Google to publish, a public statement indicating the error that they made, so that if there's any kind of confidence that was lost in the investor community or anything of the sort because of this particular glitch, that confidence can come back? Thank you.
Thank you. And then, okay, so you, and then I'll take the lady from City, and then we'll wrap up.
I would want to find out at what interest rates are we going for the 3 billion euro bond?
Yes, and then the final one. She's done with it. Oh, okay. You guys shared some notes before coming here. So the first question, I think, is about where lies our hope that this so-called 6 or so may not happen. Our hope lies in the reality of the programs that we are implementing, and the interventions that we have introduced in the last couple of days and are introducing even just last night and in the days and weeks ahead, which we believe will shore up the Ghanaian currency. And that is why we encourage people to desist from this speculating down the currency and rather support the efforts that are aimed at shoring up the currency. That's where our hope lies. Now, is government considering having a stakeholder engagement to find solutions or to discuss how to move the economy forward, in your words? Government continues to engage with all sorts of stakeholders. I've just mentioned to you a town hall meeting of the EMT and various industry players who will be able to give feedback and answers and ask their own questions. Parliament is another place where on a daily basis economic matters are put on the floor by the Finance Committee and various other committees, and we go through those analyses. Government continues to engage, particularly through the Finance Ministry, with a lot of civil society groups and economic think tanks as we continue this agenda of getting our growth up and getting our various macro indicators up, getting incomes up, reducing inequality in this country. I am not aware that we are at a point where we have to call everybody around the table and say, help us with ideas to fix this. With great respect, I'm not aware that we are at that point. There's a question about planting for food and jobs. Indeed, it has been reviewed. And that's why now you have the planting for export, which is being introduced, so that we'll also be able to grow products this time that are going outbound, but are not just for consumption here. There's also the rearing for food and jobs, which is the other dimension of it. So the review continues, and we seek to improve it as we go along. There's a question about the Ghanaian Times. Yes, in fact, even this morning I spoke to their editors that I still haven't received their formal complaint. Nonetheless, we have been in touch with the Interior Ministry and the Police Service. It is our understanding that they have already, I think, even taken statements, and they are proceeding to conduct their investigation in this matter. We continue to insist that the speed with which the persons who assaulted the police officer were quickly found and arrested and dealt with, that same speed should be applied in finding the officers who assaulted these persons. And for me, these are citizens. It's not even about the fact that they are journalists. These are citizens who were subjected to what appears to be undue force by police officers. It's important that that investigation is done with dispatch, so that it doesn't appear that when it is about the police, they're acting with dispatch, and when it's not about them, they are not. And I think we've made that point quite clear to our colleagues at Interior and to our colleagues at the police service. Are we going to ask Google to do anything? No, we're not going to ask Google to do anything. The sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. The global markets answered that question for us yesterday with a resounding almost 7 times offer to what we had initially requested. And I think that for all of those who follow up on these markets, they would have observed that that was a glitch in the Google calculations. And so for us, it is not a matter that we intend to pursue any further. The rates you asked about, so for the 3 billion, the first tranche of 750 million for the 7-year bond was issued at 7.8%. The next tranche of 1.2 billion, that's 1.250 billion, that's for a 12-year bond, that was issued at 8.125%. And then the final tranche of 1 billion for 31 years, so for the 31-year bond, was issued at 8.950. And for many of you who are business reporters, when you compare these rates to what Nigeria and other countries picked up, you would identify that our rates were quite competitive. Indeed, on the Google matter, you would notice that I think Pakistan and Nigeria also suffered from the same glitch in January and February, respectively. So these things happen from time to time, but that's why it's always important also to refer to the official platforms. The Bank of Ghana platforms will always give you the accurate numbers to play with. So colleagues, we'll leave it here. I think we've done about an hour today. We'll leave it here. Thank you. Many of you admittedly have sent in some requests. We are tidying up some of the responses from some of our colleagues, and then hopefully we can share them with you. Thank you.
Namenia, I don't know how. My, I see you.